Our learning statements, or our learning targets for today, are I can read and spell my new spelling words. I'm going to practice those. I can read, write, and sort words with different I sounds. So we're going to be looking, remember those little backslashes? That's going to make the I sound, so that long I. So this week we'll look at some different ways to make that I sound. Okay, we have a new list of spelling words this week. This is 11.4 in your packet for today. It's page 67. You're going to be sure and study these words at home throughout the week, and we're going to practice the words today together. If you want to go back through this PowerPoint this week, it'll be available all week, so you can go back and look at these words. Okay, our spelling words this week are going to have these different combinations, consonant combinations in them. Now, if you look at the combinations of the consonants, you will see the sounds that they make with the backslashes above them. So you can see that the WR makes the R sound. QU, you know, Q and U always go together. If you have a Q, you always have a U behind it. Now, U can stand alone, but Q always has U behind it. Qu. We're going to look at the sound qu. Now, your KN, your K is silent in this KN combination. So just like in the WR, you hear the R, but you don't hear the W, so the W is silent. The Q and the U is silent. You just hear qu. Now, the KN, your N is going to be the only thing that you're going to hear. So the K is silent. And it's going to make the N sound. Now your WH, your H is not going to be heard. So you're going to hear W. So we're fixing to practice our words for the week that have these consonant combinations in them with the sounds R, Qu, N, O. Words will have your suffixes ing and ed in them. Ing means it happens right now, so it's the present tense form, and ed means it happened in the past. Now we'll talk about some of those rules that we have learned so far with ing and ed, and we'll use those to help us spell the words correctly. Okay, so let's look at our different spelling words. In your first column, we've got the KN, which make the N sound. So your words are knotted, knitting, and knot. Now you can see that in the word knotted, the base word would be knot, K-N-O-T, and when you add your ed to the end of the word, you're going to double the consonant T because it's a vowel consonant, so we double the consonant. So that word becomes knotted. So let's touch spell the word knotted. Knotted. The word knitting. Now remember the K is silent. You double the T because your I is a vowel, so it's a vowel consonant. The word is knitting. Now let's touch spell knitting. It, g. Knitting. You hear that T in both of your syllables. Okay, the last one is a knot. Knot, like you knocked on a door. Okay, so let's touch spell knot. A, k, e, d. Now the word knock, you know, at the end of a word, if you hear k at the end of a word, it normally is a CK if it's a short vowel. So the word knot, you don't have to double anything at the end of it to add that ed to it. Okay, look at your next column with the WR. So this is the sound. Ringing. That's like you're wringing out a rag, like you're squeezing it to get all the water out of it. So it's not like a phone ringing. It's like wringing a rag out. So this word ringing, let's touch spell it. R-I-N-G. I-N-G. So ring is your base word, W-R-I-N-G. Ing, you're adding ing to it. We don't have to double a consonant because it ends in two consonants together. Okay, the word wrong, same rule. You got ng at the end of the word wrong, so we don't have to double anything to add your ed. Let's touch spell the word wronged. R-A-N-G-E-D. Now look at the next column. You've got whipped. Your W-H, you hear the w, whipped. Let's touch spell it. W-I-P-P-E-D. Whipped. You hear that P in both syllables. Whipped. When you write the word whipped, you double the consonant P because it's vowel consonant to add the ED. Okay, look at the next word. This word is whine. Like if a dog is begging, maybe whining, kind of, maybe they want something. This word whine, it ends in an E because that I is a long I. So if it already ends in an E, remember the rule is to add a D to make it past tense ED. Okay, look at your Q-U. Quitting. Here you've got quit. You have to double your consonant to add ing. So let's touch spell quitting. Qu-I-T-T-I-N-G. Then you've got quacked. Quacked, you know, and quack ends in CK, so we don't have to double anything at the end of it to add that ED. Quacked. Let's touch spell it. Qu-A-C-K-D. And you know how ED can either make the T, D, or ed sound. And our last word is our tricky word, all. All. A-L-L. Now, as in Unit 2, Unit 3 focuses on vowel sounds. So you will learn many new vowel sounds and spellings. But first, you will review the basic code spelling for the I sound. So we're going to look at the I sound, and then we're going to look at the I, the long vowel. What sound does this stand for? This is typically the I sound, your short vowel. So when you complete the sheet that you're going to complete today, you're going to see some short vowels and some long vowels that we have worked on before. This vowel sound is I. Now we're going to trace it in the air and we're going to write the I and make the sound. I. The word is it. Now think of about 6 words. So pause the video and tell someone at home 6 to 8 words that contain the I sound, the short I. 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 Do that and then come back. Now let's look at some examples that we came up with. Mitten, tiptoe, insect, iguana, infant, sit. Now your new spelling for the vowel I, this is going to be the IE and it's going to say I. So this is the long vowel I. So far we've had the long vowel with the sneaky E or the magic E that makes it say its name. And now we're going to look at the IE that says I. So this is tie. Remember, you've already learned one spelling for this, which is the I sneaky E. So it's I consonant E, which is magic E. Like in bite, you see your I consonant E. So you're going to see several of these on the sheet that you're about to do. Now over the next few days we're going to go over and we're going to learn several different spellings for the I sound. Now think of some other words that contain the I sound made with IE. So think about some long vowels that are I consonant E and some IEs. Now if you look in your packet at page 63 and page 61 in your packet for the day, you can see some examples in the word banks. So take a minute now to pause it and look in your word banks and read both of the word banks on page 61 and page 63. Look for some of those short I, those I sounds and those long I's. So pause the video now and practice reading from these word banks. Read both word banks aloud to someone. Now here are some of the I words that we came up with, some extra ones. Okay, you've got the word fire, tie, pie, cry, kite, and fly. Now let's sort these spellings with the I consonant E, the I, the short I, the I, the IE, which says I, and the I ducks. Now you can see that sight and fine are your I consonant E's. Look in your word banks and see if you find any other I consonant E's that say I. Now Friday and ideal, normally the I alone says I. These are those that are, the I says I. So, you know, it's kind of tricky. You have to really look at the word, sound it out, and determine which sound. But this is because I ends the first syllable. So look at Friday. It's an open syllable word, so fry, it's going to say I because it's the last sound in the syllable. Ideal. It's a two-syllable word, and I is open at the beginning, so it's going to say I instead of I. Now the words tie and lie, those are your IEs that say I. You can see those on page 63. They're in the word bank. And then your I ducks. IGH says I, and Y sometimes says I. So right and dry. Okay, now you're going to look at page 61 and page 63. These are fill in the blanks, page 11.1 and 11.2. Now my suggestion to you would be to read your word banks first, which you should have already done. So you're going to read your word banks, and then you're going to fit each word into a blank one at a time. Now if I were you and I was struggling with which word goes in a sentence, and I kind of want to leave one blank to come back and see, always, you know, like leave it blank, skip it, use elimination as a strategy. Now if I used one of my words in my word bank, I would either circle it or put a check mark beside it, because you hate to completely mark through it, because then you're not going to be able to see the word if you want to erase it and change it to a different blank. Okay, so now you're going to complete 11.1 and 11.2. All of these words should be able to be decoded. They're all skills that we have learned so far, phonics skills. Okay, take your time and you're going to complete 11.1 and 11.2. Page 61 and page 63 in your packet. And that is all for the day. We will go over our learning targets, and we will see you tomorrow. Our learning statements, or our learning targets for today, are I can read and spell my new spelling words. I'm going to practice those. I can read, write, and sort words with different I sounds. So we're going to be looking, remember those little backslashes? That's going to make the I sound, so that long I. So this week we'll look at some different ways to make that I sound.